Let's make the next year the greatest year of your life. In this episode of the Change Your Minds podcast, I'm going to walk you through elements such as goals, priorities, obstacles, resources, strategies, systems, habits, and I'm going to explain exactly how they all relate and how you can combine all of them to ensure that you make next year the greatest year of your life. This one is going to be one of the most useful episodes of the year. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you go through it. I'm telling you, this is going to be a game changer. I'll see you in a bit. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Change Your Minds podcast. I'm Owen Fitzpatrick, and today I'm going to walk you through the most important elements that will allow you to be able to make the next year the greatest year of your life. What I'm going to do is talk you through some of the most important concepts when it comes to making changes in the quality of our life. And I'm going to explain how each one of these different elements all fits together. We're going to talk about things like goals and priorities and obstacles and skills and resources and knowledge and all sorts of different things, which will help you to be able to build and cultivate a sort of a plan for yourself using all these elements, because I'm going to walk you through what they are and how they all fit together as well. So let's start by defining the various different types of terms. And we'll start by a goal. A goal is simply something you want to accomplish. You give yourself a specific idea of what it is that you want to achieve, something you want to have or become or learn or do, place you want to go, a certain amount that you want to earn. There's all sorts of different types of goals, certain amount of weight you want to lose. You set yourself specific goals. And more often than not, when we talk about making next year a great year, we talk about New Year's resolutions. And most of the time we talk about new habits we want, but sometimes in there we'll have certain goals. I want to achieve this by this deadline. And so a goal is a particular thing you want to achieve by a particular deadline. Now, a priority is the most important goals that you set for yourself. So whatever it is that's most important for you to achieve, they would be what we classify as priorities. And invariably, you're going to have a number of different goals of things that you want to achieve. And when you stop and you ask yourself, well, what are my priorities? You'll identify that out of all these goals, these are the most important goals I want to accomplish. So once again, a goal is all the things you want to achieve. They're your goals. And the priorities are, out of all those goals, these are the most important things that you want to achieve. Then we've got the obstacles. And the obstacles are the challenges or problems that are in your way that are preventing you from doing that. Let's imagine you have a goal of losing 20 pounds between now and June of next year. And so that would be your goal. And let's imagine it's a priority for you. Out of all the goals you have, that's the one that you really want to achieve. Well, the obstacle to that might be all the different birthdays that are coming up where you will be seeing friends and they'll be wanting you to eat lots of cake with them or drink lots of alcohol with them or whatever might be a potential hazard that might prevent you from actually staying on the course towards losing the weight that you're looking to lose, right? So they're the kind of examples of obstacles that we have. And again, I'm going to walk you through more detail about what that looks like. We also need skills and knowledge. So skills are a set of abilities that allow us to be able to take the kind of action we need in order to succeed. And knowledge would be the requisite information that we need, that by knowing it, it actually will help us to be more successful. So a lot of times, in order for us to achieve a particular outcome, we not only need to know what to do and have the knowledge, we also need to be able to do it. That means we need to have the skills. And again, the skills when it comes to losing weight might be how well you deal with your cravings, right? It takes skill to be able to change the way you think, for instance, about the particular things that you're craving. So specific skills you might have trained yourself or learned, or skills in terms of motivating yourself to exercise regularly, for instance, could be that as well. We also have resources. These are physical resources that might help you to do that. So once again, from a losing weight point of view, you could have a particular fitness tracker that helps make sure you're monitoring how much exercise you're getting, that kind of thing. We have habits, which is the things that you define that you're going to do on a regular basis. So you identify what are the habits that I want to build, that by building them, they will help me to go and be successful in achieving my particular goal. We also sometimes have habits that are the goal. So in other words, instead of having a predefined sort of ending of, I want to achieve this goal, sometimes habits will be the very goal that you set for yourself as well. And we'll talk through that too. But a habit could be the behaviors that you engage in regularly that by doing so help you achieve the goal, or a habit could be the goal in and of itself, right? They could be the ends, or they could also be the means as well. Then you have the systems. This is a set of habits that you engage in, which you do consistently. And once again, that could be kind of like a goal in and of itself. You've built a new system, and that allows you to function in a new way. It allows you to set up your lifestyle accordingly. And then finally, with the strategy. And sometimes people will call this a plan, but it's basically a set of actions that you do once in order to achieve a goal. So if you look at it, you've got two types of goals. You've got the goals that are definable end goals, and then you've got the habit goals. And when you look at both, you need to recognize that along the way, in order to achieve both, you're going to have certain goals that are priorities, certain habit goals that are priorities. You're going to have obstacles that get in your way of achieving the goal, and you're going to have obstacles that get in the way of your habit goals as well. You're going to have skills and knowledge and resources that help you to overcome these challenges or help you to achieve your goal or help you to build a new habit goal. You've got systems that you're looking to accomplish, which will be a set of habits that allow you to either achieve a particular goal or indeed they will be the goal in and of themselves. And with all of this, what we're looking to be able to do is to figure out how all these different concepts work together so that as you think about next year, you can start to put it all together. So we'll start with goals. And goals should have a number of characteristics to them. The first thing is they should be clear. And once again, if you've got an achieving goal versus a habit goal, we'll just talk about those two different types of goals. If it's an achievement goal, it should be clear. You should know exactly what is it that you want to achieve by when. If it's a habit goal, you need to know exactly what you want to be doing regularly and when you want to be doing it. So it should be very crystal clear to you exactly what it would look like. It also should be challenging. Whenever a goal is too easy, you don't get enough motivation for it. We need to be challenged. We need to be tested. We need something to be difficult for us to feel motivated to do it. If it's too easy, we just take it for granted and we don't really find ourselves motivated. So it should be something that challenges you, something that's a bit of a stretch, something that when you think of it, you're thinking to yourself, I'm not sure I can do this. Maybe I can, but I really need to work at it. That's the optimal type of goal. So a goal should be clear. It should be challenging. Again, either achievement goals or habit goals. It should also be compelling. It should be something that excites you. Like if I had that habit, amazing. That would be so incredible. Or if I could achieve this, that would be an incredible accomplishment. I'd feel so good about that. So it should be compelling to you. It should be concrete. You should know specifically what you want. So with the clarity, hopefully will be an element of it being concrete and specific so that you know exactly what the habit would look like, or you know exactly what the achievement would look like. You have definable characteristics for it. And then finally, controllable. Obviously, you don't want to set goals which are outside of your control. You want to set a goal that's certainly under your control, or the very worst, under a significant degree of your influence. When you haven't something you can control or influence, you're much more likely to feel motivated. So again, you want them to be clear, compelling, challenging, you want them to be concrete, and you want them to be controllable as well. And when your goal or habit goal fits those criteria, you're much more likely to be successful. So right now, I would take a list of 10 goals and put them through this filter so that you ensure that you answer each one of those questions. And once you've got your 10 goals, then you can go to the next piece. And the next piece is determining your priorities. With your priorities, what you want to understand is you want to understand of all these goals, which are the most important. So you want to identify the most important goals that you have. And you also can look through, well, out of those important goals, which are urgent. So which really need to be accomplished in a particular order. So for example, with some of your goals, they might be connected. So you might try to achieve, let's say, losing a certain amount of weight, and you also might try to get a particular time in your cycling or your running. You want to be able to go, I want to do 5K or 10K in my run in a particular time. But you also know that by losing the weight, it might help you along the road. So you might think to yourself, step one will be to lose that amount of weight, and step two will be to get that particular time, or vice versa. But what you're looking to be able to do is organize these goals that you have, the 10 goals, let's say, which include some habit goals and some achievement goals, and organize them in such a way that you know from start to finish which is most important to which is least important, which ones have definable urgent deadlines attached, so that you can look at this and organize your year accordingly to know next year, what are you going to put up front? What are you going to focus most of your attention on? What are you going to prioritize? And you also want to know which are most relevant to you. So of these goals, which are relevant to the lifestyle you have? How do they connect to each other? You want to try to create a sort of a map of how these different goals serve other goals and how they serve your lifestyle and how they impact the rest of your life. You want to understand how relevant are they to the people in your life? How important are they from that perspective? It's not just how important they are from a perspective of how good will you feel. It's also how will it actually help your life be better? And when you organize your life in this way, you start to cultivate a much clearer understanding and a much clearer strategy of how you go from where you are to where you need to get to. The next piece you want to look at is you want to understand the obstacles in your way. And the obstacles are the things that are going to get in your way. So right now you have your 10 goals and habit goals that you've set for yourself. Then you identify the priorities and you figure out how they connect together and what the most important things to focus on are in the year to come. Great. Now you got to go, what might get in my way? What might stop me from achieving this? These are your obstacles. And so your obstacles include your mindset, your attitude. Maybe you don't believe that you can achieve them, which is going to be a big issue. Or maybe you're confused about them, or maybe you don't know about them. Maybe you have a lack of a good mindset. Maybe you have a lack of knowledge. Maybe you have a lack of skills. You don't have the skills yet to be able to achieve it. Maybe you don't have enough time. Maybe there's a conflict of priorities there. Maybe you don't have enough money currently to be able to do it. Maybe you don't have any physical resources that will help you to achieve it. Maybe it's a lack of energy. You're not sure you will have enough energy to be able to do it because of other things in your life. Maybe you won't be able to give it the focus it needs, and maybe there might be specific people that might get in your way. These are all just examples of the various different obstacles that could stop you from achieving what you want. And so what you want to be able to do is recognize from where you are currently in the kind of life that you have. Have you got children? What age are the children? What's work like for you at the moment? How's your health? What's going on with the rest of your family, with your friends? Where do you live? Like all the circumstantial elements of your life may well influence whether or not you're limited in certain ways. So you want to be able to figure out, based upon where I am and the situations and the stuff that I'm dealing with now, do I have the requisite time, energy, money, knowledge, skills? Are there certain things that I need to be able to deal with in order for me to be successful at this? So you identify all the obstacles. And once you've identified all the obstacles, the next few questions you're going to ask yourself are all to do with the things that you might need in order for you to achieve the goals. In other words, in order for you to overcome these obstacles themselves. So first we go to the skills that you need. So what are the skills that you need in order for you to overcome these obstacles and be successful? So what is it that you need to learn to do in order to succeed? So there might be skills that you just don't have at all, right? But you just need to be able to do them. But then there's also skills that you need to learn to be better at. So skills you need to optimize, skills you might need to master in order for you to be able to achieve a particular outcome. So it's not just the skills that you need to have or build, there is the skills you need to master, and both are skills that will hopefully allow you to overcome the kind of obstacles in your way so that you can achieve the particular goals that you set for yourself and identify how you can successfully ensure that the prioritized goals and habit goals that you've set for yourself are things that you make happen regularly. You also need to know what knowledge do you need in order for you to overcome the challenges or obstacles. But again, it's also that how can you apply that knowledge successfully to overcome these particular obstacles. So once again, you're looking at the skills, you're looking at the knowledge, how you can leverage the knowledge and the skills and apply them to overcoming the obstacles that get in your way. We then have the physical resources themselves. So what physical resources do you need in order to succeed? This could be anything from software or apps. It could be to physical things, devices. I mentioned fitness tracker earlier. It could be if you're training in terms of running, then it could be certain things like massage guns that help you to be able to loosen up your muscles or whatnot. There's a whole host of different types of examples of physical things that can help you to succeed, which would be resources for you. And how can you access these resources is the question. And maybe there comes a point where you won't have access to these resources, so you've got to find alternatives. Maybe if they are too expensive or too much money, then you've got to find a different way through. So once again, what are the different types of resources that you might need? And then there's also the type of resources like time. Where could you find time? How could you prioritize your time such that you could find some time? How could you maximize what you do in times where you tend to have more energy than others so that you'd be more likely to succeed? For example, if you're creating a project and you need a lot of energy for that, then what are the times during each day that you might be able to create time for this, where you're in your most energized state of the day as well? You might ask yourself, what about money? What money is necessary for me to succeed? What knowledge, what skills? We've talked about that before. What about focus? How can I give it the requisite focus that allows me to win? What kind of people can help me succeed as well? They're a form of resource. And then what kind of mindsets or attitudes would help me to accomplish what is it that I want? So you're looking at resources from a physical resources perspective, but also all kinds of resources that would empower you to be successful. And then we look at the final kind of piece, which is identifying the habits and systems that would allow you to succeed. Now, as we talked about, sometimes a habit is also a goal, but sometimes a habit is simply part of you achieving a goal. And so the habits that you want to build would be, you take the particular goal that you set for yourself, like an achievement goal, and then you reverse engineer it and you ask yourself, what habit would I need to have if I was to achieve that goal? What habit would I need to have built in my life? And so you work with each goal that you've prioritized for yourself and you reverse engineer it back and go, how can I ensure that I've cultivated these kind of habits that would lead me towards this particular goal? You ask yourself what regular habits need to be executed, and you identify when do these habits need to be done. So when, how often do I need to be doing this? For how long? When? The more you define specifically what the habits are, when they need to be done, and for how long, the more you'll be clear of exactly what these habits will look like. And then also, we need to be able to look at the systems that you want to build. So a system is a set of steps that you do on a regular basis. So in a business, you create what we call a standard operating procedure, an SOP, that allows you to build out systems for all kinds of parts of your business. Whenever I have to publish, for example, a blog post, these are all the steps, right? So it's a set of steps that you do, but you do it regularly. Now in life, in order to achieve particular goals, a system is what you can set up so that you can make sure that you're doing the kinds of things that you need to do on a regular basis. So let's imagine your goal was to make a certain amount of money and you were thinking of coming up with a brand new business. So you needed to work on this business twice a week, every week, in order to make it successful. What you could do is build yourself a system whereby for 3 hours, twice a week, you engage in a number of different steps that will allow you to build that business. And so you give yourself a number of different things. You don't just sit down on a Tuesday and Thursday and go, what do I do now? You give yourself a set of steps that by doing so on a regular basis every single time, it will eventually compound into building a successful business. And so that's just an example of a system, but you can have systems for everything. But a system is a sequence of steps that you engage in on a regular basis, which will allow you to cultivate the kind of lifestyle that you want to build. And this is different to the final piece, which is strategy. So a system is something that you do regularly, but a strategy, as I described it here, is a sequence of steps that you engage in that will help you to get to an end goal. So if you want to achieve a habit goal, then you need to build a habit itself. And sometimes you'll build systems that will allow you to ensure that that system is made up of a multitude of different habits. But if you've got a definable achievement goal, then sometimes it's not a case of what you need to do regularly. Sometimes it's just a case of you need to go A, B, C, D, and then you will have achieved your goal. So when you go A, B, C, D, that's effectively what we call a strategy. First, you need to do this, then you need to do that, then you need to do the other. And so you take, for example, I've got the goal of becoming a bestseller with my book. Writing the book is an achievement goal. So for that, I would have a strategy from start to finish in order for me to get to the place where I need to get to. But then when I'm marketing it, even though there'll be the launch, that might be a particular achievement goal itself. But because it always needs to be marketed, or at least needs to be marketed after it's published as well, it's better that that's more of a habit goal. And indeed, not just a habit goal, it's better that that becomes systems that I build for myself. So I build systems, regular steps that I take on an ongoing basis that each week I'm marketing and promoting and selling the book. That is what we call a sort of a system from that perspective. So if we bring all of these together, what's really important is you take the 10 goals that you've set, you prioritize them, figure out how they connect and link together. Then you walk through the obstacles that are in the way of these particular prioritized goals and what might prevent you. Then you identify all the resources that you need in order to overcome those obstacles, all the skills, all the knowledge, all that sort of stuff. You identify exactly what skills you need to learn, what actions you need to take, and then you start to bring everything together. You identify the habits you need to build, exactly when you need to do them, how long they need to last, and ensuring that as you answer that question, you know exactly when you need to take those specific actions consistently. You also build the kind of systems that will allow you to succeed, and you build a strategy that will allow you to accomplish each one of the goals. When you start to put this all together, you can transform the next year of your life into something that allows you to move towards the kinds of things that you want. Whether it's an achievement goal or a habit goal, this is the possibility and potential to help you to achieve exactly the kind of year that you like. Now, along the way, things are going to happen. You're going to have to pivot. You're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to allow what we've talked about before, the anti-fragile mindset and the agency mindset, to be able to empower you to adjust accordingly. But if you want to start with a sense of motivation, a sense of drive, and certainly a sense of connection to exactly how you can make the next year the most successful year yet, this is a great way to begin. So I really hope that you will take this and apply it for this coming year, and that you will enjoy and reap the rewards as you get them. Take care, be well, may the forces always be with you, and I'm excited for you to have the best year of your life. Thanks for watching.